So I appreciate you guys jumping in. Again, if you have any questions at any time, just pop it in the chat. Start off by letting me know what part of the country you're from. Otherwise, this is what I've found over the years. So my name is Mike. I started the Remodeling Academy, and we've created what's called remodeling systems. Over the years, I noticed that a lot of guys were frustrated, burnt out, broke, especially the longer a guy stayed in the industry, the worse it would get. And it doesn't have to be that way. Okay, remodeling can be a lot of fun, and you can make money. So you just need a few skills, and let's go over those. All right. So if for some reason right now your business feels like it's taking you down, if you feel like the walls are crashing in, especially if it feels heavy, it's not that you're not working hard, but you might be working hard doing the wrong things. Okay, welcome guys. And that's frustrating to hear for a lot of guys, right? You might have worked for somebody else and you're like, I see how much they're charging the homeowner. They're only paying me this little bit. I could start my own business. I could charge less and make more. And then you wake up to the reality, but this business is a lot harder than that, right? Especially the smaller your company. A one-man band, yeah, I mean, you can survive. It's a lot of work though. And the five-man band is usually one of the harder places to be until you get past the million. And a lot of guys die before that happens. And once you get up over $1 million, then the business starts becoming a little more fun because there starts being money left over at the end of the month. So a lot of guys like that. All right, so here's what we got. I'll show you some ways that we can fix some of the chaos. And if you're new, just let me know what part of the country you're from. So typically, a remodeler has no system, or their system that they have is just chaos. That's the system, right? It's not a planned system at all. So the guys that I come across all the time are good at what they do, which is the remodeling. It's kind of like owning a sub shop. You know how to make the best sandwich, but what if you can't manage the staff? You don't know how to offer it and sell it. You don't know what to charge for it. You don't know what hours to operate. You don't know how long you should be open, how long you should be closed, right? All the things that are required on the business side can end up closing down the guy that makes the best subs in the neighborhood, whereas some other guy makes terrible subs, but he knows how to run a business and he's selling them left and right. Makes no sense. So typically things like free estimates, guessing, and then chasing people, those are things that are going to keep you busy and typically somewhat broke, right? So ask yourself this: how many hours are you spending a week or a month estimating and running around town and doing activities that didn't lead to any money payment? This is challenging to hear for some people, but a business isn't you working. Just because you're busy, right? I could be sitting here talking on these lives for hours, and if nobody's participating, or if there isn't another purpose behind the video, then it's like a washing machine, right? You're just wasting a lot of time. So the way you look at it is your business is the result of having people and a process that produces a result. Okay, so for most smaller remodelers, you have to stop being the guy that does everything and grab a team, and your team should be producing your result. And so welcome. Look, if you guys have any questions, just pop it in on the chat and we can go from there. All right, so processes is what keep people stuck. It's what keeps you tired, and what keeps you from scaling. So most remodelers are missing two core systems. First one is their estimating, right? Just the basic way that they engage with prospects. And a lot of times it's based off of hope, and hope isn't a plan. So The best way to put this is you need a strict process. Every time you meet with someone, you need to know step by step where we're going, what's next, where I want to get them. Again, welcome if you're joining, if you're new, if you have any questions, anything you want to talk about regarding estimating, automations for remodelers, just pop it in the chats and we'll go from there. So a lot of guys guess and they guess wrong. And you need to share with homeowners more precise things. All right. And that's the first. So when you're estimating, you want to get to a place where you're able to provide them with a bid or a proposal, right? You want to just give a ballpark in the beginning and then move them to the next step. Now, the second part that overlaps all that is your follow-up. And it can't run with based off of how your mood is, whether you're happy that day, you feel good, you're excited, you think this prospect's going to go somewhere. You want your estimating and follow-up process to work as a system, and it should just run automatically every time. Okay, and that's how you can build and get traction. So if you guys notice, if you go into like my bio and you click on my link, you can automatically go over, you can download my book, boom, you'll get an email. That email is going to then invite you to book a call, right? And that's where we do a free strategy call. We go over your business, right? And there you go. That's all automatic. I'm not doing that. I've created the flow one time. Once you've met with a homeowner or a prospect, you need some automations for all your follow-ups, okay? And that's what I would call the digital foreman that a lot of guys are missing in this industry. It's too easy to have it now to not have it. Does that make sense? So this digital foreman is following up regardless of what you're doing. If you have a basic web page or lead or a funnel section, somehow that you're attracting someone to your digital presence, if that person wants more information, the days of them calling you up over the phone, that shouldn't have to be the only way. They should be able to click a button, takes them to another page, and you have a little video, maybe you have a little guide or handout. All they do is put in their phone number or their email address. They get more information. Heck, it might even say, I want to have you come out and look at such and such. That should all be able to happen online, okay? It's a digital age, guys. Homeowners have moved way past just calling around, begging contractors to come see them for estimates. Your website, your digital presence should be working for you, okay? So yeah, think of it this way. Most remodelers aren't losing money because like their price is too high. They're losing it because the price is basically too sloppy, okay? And if you're new, welcome. Just let me know what part of the country you're from. All right. So people skip steps, right? You're bouncing around. You don't lock in a solid scope. Maybe some selections aren't planned properly. You don't have your labor lined up the way you thought you would. You didn't account for certain delays. Like that's just remodeling 101. You plan for the delays. And you didn't properly protect to make sure that you're going to get profit at the end of this job. So what happens? You'll win the job, but then the job ends up winning you in a sense because now you're losing money. And that gets frustrating. It burns you out. So I would say today, one of the best things you can stop doing is just giving away a free estimate for one, and stop just even get away from the word estimate altogether. Share with people that your idea of what a professional does is talks ranges and then moves them into a design, the next step, right? So let's talk a little bit more about this digital foreman. You guys might like this. Most remodelers don't lose to competitors, they lose to silence. Homeowner is going to say, let me think about it, Joe. And then what happens? right? You follow up, maybe you try, you call, you text, you email, nothing. When you remember, you check again, nothing. Or you just try it when you feel like, maybe this should be good. I don't know. Should I wait 3 days? Should I wait a week? How long do you wait? Um, or when you panic because you just finished a job and now you got nothing lined up. So you're like, damn, I should follow up with them again. I got to see whatever happened to that job, right? Or you just got done putting out a bunch of fires and you don't know what to do next. And that's when you find out that they moved on. They hired somebody else. Like, we didn't hear from you. We had a couple questions, but we found somebody else. So what a digital forming can help you do is come up with an automated way to do this, right? And it puts in motion a process that's happening behind the scenes. You have basically like a follow-up chain of events that start happening. So it's not just one follow-up, it's a series of follow-ups. Okay. And let's just say you put in 3 follow-ups, maybe on day 1, day 3, day 7. Just doing that alone will separate you from the majority of your competition. The amount of homeowners that say, I never heard back from the contractor is staggering. Okay. So I share all this to let you know that behind the scenes, what we've been creating is the remodeling systems. And we created a community there that is perfect for remodelers who need to get affiliated or learn how to do automations. They need automations. They want to get automations. We have a community you can be a part of where you can learn more about this and see what's going on. What does an automation look like? And we have that inside. It's called the Remodelers Launch Pad, and pretty excited. It's new that we're putting out here for 2026, and it's because even though we're online a bunch, we noticed that a lot of guys just don't know what to do next, and they're not taking action, and they just watch. It's so easy nowadays to just sit down when you're tired, pull up your laptop, your iPad, your phone, and you can watch a live, but you do nothing. So you've watched me and you've watched several people that are a part of our program get all this success over the last year, and you've walked away with that feeling of, well, that would be nice, but you didn't do anything. You just watched somebody else do it. And it could have been you doing it the entire time. So that's why this new community has been established so that we can get a few more people involved. And it's a place for active engagement. All right. Now, it doesn't mean that you still can't hire us to do it for you, right? But I want you to participate a little bit more and make sure that you take the next step. Just watching doesn't do anyone any good, right? This isn't mindless entertainment here. This is set up so that your business takes the next step and moves. So you have to ask yourself, if you've been following me for a couple months and you're like, Mike, how come like 3 of those other guys all are now moving ahead in their sales, but I haven't? It's because just watching isn't going to make the difference. You have to start implementing and taking the next step. So that's why this other community has been set up so that you can come in and be more participatory. All right. Because sitting on the sideline, I mean, maybe it's fun for some guys to watch other guys have all the success. But if you have come across like my TikTok account, there's no reason why you can't have the same success. It doesn't discriminate. The only person that doesn't experience success is the person that doesn't put in the time, energy, and effort. All right. A couple of new guys jumped in. I think Tyler and Green, maybe. Been a little while since I've seen you. Happy 2026. Welcome. So anyway, there's no reason for a remodeler to feel like a little lost any longer. Not in today's technology. You can be connected there. You could be on a Zoom call, getting assistance, implementing your automations for your email system, right? Putting your CRM into place so that you are now in being proactive in the way that you're running your business. Okay. And that's how we move from the self-employed guy, right, to putting in proper leaders. And some guys are like, but Mike, I can't afford to hire these good guys. Yeah, because you don't have a sales process. Like, hello, like when you start selling jobs for a profit, there's money to now pay the other people. Okay. And at some point, some people say, well, what about the chicken or the egg? Which comes first? Here's what comes first. You got to put in the work. Okay. So some guys have a bankroll saved and they invest and put the systems in place. Other guys have to finance it. I don't know, but all I do know is you have to get the systems in place for your business. However you do it, that's how you got to do it. Maybe you have to sell some tools or a vehicle. I don't know. Maybe just go sell the next 3 jobs and add $1,000 to all 3 of them, right? And really focus on over delivering for the homeowner so that you land the job. Then you have $3,000 to invest in some systems. I'm not sure what your solution is, but you have to find a way to make it work. All right. So this community, the Remodelers Launchpad, really will be focused on, you'll see a lot more discussion about estimating, okay, and automations. Those are the 2 key things that you really need. And sometimes the challenge I run into in these groups is some days I'm talking to somebody who's struggling to hit 1 million, and some days I'm talking to somebody who's struggling to get past 3 million. Okay. And it's the same core principles, but sometimes the way we go about doing it is a little bit different. It's kind of like if you've ever worked out. Some guys are still trying to figure out how to get their first couple miles in for running, or they're still trying to learn how to, bench press or squat their body weight. Other guys have already got the 7-minute mile and they're already benching their body weight and squatting twice that, and they need other refinements. But you still have to work on your game, right? Your training, and you need to be doing that for your business. All right. So estimating doesn't rely on guesswork. Automations that stop leads will stop those leads from slipping away. Got some new messages. Hello, welcome. Simple systems that can make your week feel lighter. All right, that's what we want at the end of the day. We want this business to be fun. So that's why we offer the automations. You see my automation. I put that out there so you can see how we do it, to let you know, like, it can be just like this for your business, right? With your message, dealing with your clients. So you'll get to see some open sessions where we'll be doing some more stuff. And all I can say is, look, I invite a lot of you guys to attend different things. A lot of it is upper level, so it might be over your head, but don't be intimidated. Just show up. We all started somewhere, right? I wouldn't invite you if I didn't think it would benefit anyone in the remodeling industry. I haven't had anyone ever come out of one of my trainings when we've talked about sales or estimating and go, that was a waste of time, right? Guys walk out of there and a lot of times their head's spinning because it's the first time they've really thought about it that way, and they're confused. They don't understand it. And then people get pissed when they start seeing that other guys across the country have been doing this now for a couple of years and they have a whole different experience in the business. And you're like, I could have been doing this for 3 years. So you just have to get started. All right. So so Tile and Grain, I mean, part of what we do, I do challenges, I do webinars to help people understand. And we're getting ready to do another webinar here. Have you gone to my bio and gone through the process? Do you have a copy of my book, Tile and Grain? I'm asking to see if you're on our CRM, if you're in my system. Okay. So yes, you'll hear me talking a little bit more about we're doing what we're doing is, it's going to probably be a little over an hour. It's just going to be a webinar, one afternoon, and I'm really going to be getting a little more into the concept of the selling part and the automating, how you automate your business. Okay. And it's specific to guys that are doing remodeling, because the way we engage with homeowners, right, the fact that we typically have to overcome a lot of industry expectations and the homeowner has a lot of thoughts already about us before we ever even meet with them. A lot of what we go over is how you set yourself up for success and how you separate yourself from day one. Okay. Does that answer your question? So But yeah, if you haven't been over to my bio, I would tell you that's the first step. Go to the bio, put in your email, get the book. It gives you an option to book a free strategy call. I'd highly recommend you take advantage of it. That's something that if you don't go through the book process with the call, that's something you people pay for, but you'll get that strategy. It's a free call for anyone that goes in and goes through that process with getting the book. Okay? So, but anyhow, yeah, man. Tell me how's 2026 setting up? Are you booked out well right now? Is there is the pipeline full? Is your job board busy? Okay, that's good. Yeah. Well, and your jobs are a lot quicker, right? You're typically not on the job for probably more than 2 or 3 weeks. So probably be nice to have a few more projects, but good. What are you seeing right now, Talon Green? What's the biggest hang up or uh, yeah, 1 to 3 weeks? What are you anticipating? Do you expect things to start picking up? Are you a little bit behind just because of the holiday? Have leads been down? Are leads picking up? What are you seeing happening right now for you specifically in your marketplace? Yeah, a lot of leads. Yeah, I think you're finding if you have some sort. Sure. Are you finding just having the time to meet with them? Is that what's keeping you? Yeah, I think I'm gonna tell you, I think there's a ton of work out there right now. I think for a lot of people, the economy is going really well. You have a lot of homeowners. Here's what is happening. In my opinion, you have a lot of homeowners that aren't selling their house because they have such a low interest rate. So they are remodeling. They're refinance like I'm not refinancing, but pulling out like home equity lines of credit and just saying, well, if we're not moving, we're making some changes. So to me, the remodeling economy is super strong. Okay, are you how gotcha? Do you do the weed the lead process? Is that something have you heard me talk about that before, Talon Graham? Do you do a pre-screen for every lead? Do you get on the phone and go through a process to figure out where they are in their buying cycle? So that could be yes. Talking a range is definitely part of, in my opinion, the first conversation, right? You definitely want to but you also, the reason this is my theory, and this has worked really well for me and several other guys, is the sooner we bring up money, we get that out of the way. So we understand that we're all kind of talking in a range that's appropriate. Then you undercover what really is happening. How soon are they looking to get this project done? Are they waiting till they get a tax return? Are they waiting for like a divorce to go through? I don't know. Were they in a car accident 6 months ago and they're expecting a settlement check? And when that happens, then they're going to do the remodel, right? Um, it's all part of understanding where they are in the buying cycle so that you understand should be going out to even meet with them right now, right? Things like that. That's what kind of the weed the lead process is about. We want to uncover, and there's some strategic ways you go about asking those questions. Does that make sense? Yeah, exactly. So everybody's business is a little bit different. In my world, what I like to do, okay, more timeline. Yeah. So I'm not trying to when if you called me and you told me you wanted to do a new bathroom, I'd be like, this is awesome. I'd be saying real quick, oh, awesome. How long have you been thinking about doing that? Why did you call me today? You know, I'm trying to get a gauge for where they're at. Have they already, and like, well, how many other guys have you called? Am I your first call? Did you call 7 other people? None of them called you back. Did you already get estimates? Like, I don't know what they're going to say back to me, but I'm just going to ask them some questions to get a feel. Like, oh, how long have you lived in the house? 15 years? Well, don't you know other contractors? Why are you calling us? Like, you know what I'm saying? Just trying to get a sense for where they're at. Um, I like to move people into, if I'm going to come visit on site, that there's some sort of a monetary exchange. I talk a lot about paid design, a measure fee, whatever it is. Again, showing that they're serious. And then that way, and then letting them know when we come out, we're going to be talking about moving you to getting a remodeling project started so that everyone understands why we're meeting. We are meeting not for me just to throw out some ideas unless you're only hiring me for the design. Does all that makes sense? I like to just put it all out on the table up front. And I find that a lot of homeowners actually respect that, but none of my competition is typically doing that. Most other guys are just coming out to give a free estimate. And I'm coming out to we're going to talk about making a buying decision most likely. How close are they to making this decision? You may ask something like, hey, if we come out and meet and we're able to figure everything, are you guys in a position where you're ready to move forward? Because I want to hear all their, okay. Yeah, fair enough. Um, I what I find happens is when I start bringing up the next steps, if they're ready, they let me know they're ready. And I've had homeowners before say, "Hey, Mike, if you can come out here on Wednesday, and we can come up with a basic concept of what we're going to do for the design and what that would cost, like we're ready to sign an agreement with you on Wednesday." Like, whereas most contractors, their sales process is, hi, Mr. and Miss Smith, thanks for calling. Oh, you want a bath? I'll come out on Wednesday and let me take a look. So then you go out on Wednesday, you take a look. And that's like, okay, I'll get back to you with an estimate, right? And a lot of guys are delaying this process where some homeowners, they're ready to move quicker than that. That's what I'm getting at. If So Tyler Green, two thoughts for you. One, if you just go to Google and you type in Weed the Lead and the Remodeling Academy, it should take you to a page where you can get the form that I use. You can download it for free. It's just a one page. And then I recommend you look at that as a template. You can adjust that. I have my personality style. You'll have yours. Okay. Yes. And that's where we come in with the design. Yes. So you have a lot of people that want to know numbers. And that's when I'll share with the homeowners what we found over the years is the best thing to do is we get started with a design feasibility stage. So I could come out on Wednesday, I can look at things and I can give you an idea for what the design phase is going to cost. And then if you're ready, we'll move forward with that. As soon as the design phase is done, you're going to have a detailed scope, time frame, description of materials. You're going to understand what the project costs are to build exactly what you want. So I like to go that way so I get paid to do the estimate for the homeowner. So I incorporated a design. But yeah. But anyhow, if you want, you can go to Weed the Lead. Just type in Weed the Lead and the Remodeling Academy. It'll bring you up to a page. You can download that. And then go to my bio and you want to get the book. You're welcome to book that free call. And then that'll obviously, that gets you into the system, and then you'll know more about when the webinar is, if that's something of interest for you. How's do you, if you have a website, Tile and Grain, put it in the I think you do. I think I've seen it before. Just remind me, type it in the chat, please. I want to take a peek at your website. All right, I got, you don't have, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, so this is just what I don't know if you've ever taken like psychology training for sales and sales, like understanding human buying behavior. But most homeowners, a lot of guys in remodeling think that the reason the homeowner doesn't buy is because of price. It's not because of price. It's because they don't trust the process yet. They don't understand what the price is getting them. And if you've ever been in a car dealership, if you're one Saturday, if you're bored, you should just go to one of the busiest car dealerships and just sit and watch. Because this is what happens. A person walks into a car dealership and they see an ad and like, I want to buy a car for $20,000. And the guy at the car dealership shows them the $20,000 car, but then realizes for $20,000 they're not getting any of the options that they want. It doesn't have air conditioning, sunroof, leather seats, whatever. Next thing you know, they walk out spending 35 out of the dealership because the things that they really wanted cost 35. In remodeling, most remodelers hear the homeowner say, well, we only want to spend 20,000. And then they figure out, well, I guess I can only charge 20,000. Well, no, 20,000 might just be what it costs to do the base job. But as you talk with a homeowner and work through, you end up they realize that no, we really want to spend 35 on this bath because that's what gets us exactly what we want. Same concepts, right? And there's a whole strategy to how to work the homeowner through that, where you're, hopefully that makes, I mean, you've been doing this a long time. I think this makes sense to you. That just because whenever a homeowner throws out a price, like that's just the starting point. For me at least, that's like never the price that we actually settle on, right? That's just the price that they threw out. That's their safe price. But once they get more comfortable, then they're going to spend more money because they want more things. They don't want the base price, typically, if I've done a good job of weeding them out. And I mean, from your website, you do high-end work. You guys do nice work. How are you doing the design now? Who does that? Are you bringing in a designer? Do your clients come to you with a design? How's that part being handled? Because you do some nice work. Yeah, you can definitely. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Have you've been doing this for at least 4 years, I want to say. Have you ever, just follow me for a minute. Have you ever thought about letting the homeowner know that the nice thing about hiring you is that you'll take care of everything for them? You'll handle the design and the install. And the only difference, the only tweak is they just come to you for everything, but then you work with the same tile shop. You know, you'll say, all right, guys, I'm going to come out, meet with you. We're going to set up. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to get the design. Then do you work that sales process at all? You know what I'm saying? Where they look to you as like the conductor, the orchestrator of this whole process. Or would you be interested in like meeting with clients and letting them know that you can solve the design issue as well? Let me ask you, I guess what's happening in your world, a lot of times the homeowner has an interior designer and they're doing a couple things within the house and then they bring you in for just the bathroom part. Maybe that's what's happening currently. Okay. Yeah. So some things we could definitely, those are some things like that we could kind of talk about. Once I understand a little bit more about how you're doing it and understanding what you're comfortable, right? Because I have my set of skills, you have your set of skills, we each have our own personality. But in the remodeling space, there's the guy that controls the project tends to make the most money. Does that make sense? Almost, that's why I joke, everybody wants to be the GC, right? Even the painter wants to be the GC, the carpet guy usually wants to be the GC. Everybody wants to be the one that the homeowner goes to first. And then the information disseminates down that way. And even in your world, there's no reason why you can't be the main guy. They come to you first, you get the design handled, then you bring in any of the trades that you need to accomplish this bath remodel. And you don't have to know how to do the design. You just need to know who can do it for you for the homeowner. So hopefully that resonates. So, anyhow, how do you think, what are your expectations this year? How do you think your business is going to do? Do you think this will be an up year or down year? Yeah. Yeah, we find for sure that homeowners that have designers have money, plain and simple. And that's the way remodeling used to be done in the 70s. You would work with a design first. Even contractors back then would come up with a set of drawings or plans. It wasn't until like the 80s that contracting got cheap and homeowners everyone started skipping a step. Everyone just started saying, well, I'll just hire the contractor and we'll figure it out. We'll wing it, right? Like, I don't know, Joe, just come on over and get started. I just want a new bath. Well, we'll figure it out. Like, no, there should be a plan before we get started. All right. What kind of steps are you taking to help increase your lead flow, I guess? Like when I see I only ask because I see hopefully. So I'm curious. All right, so you weren't down. Why do you think? Let me ask you this: you weren't down by much. What do you think caused that for you? Why do you think you didn't stay the same or go up? Were you burnt out, tired, frustrated? Like, did you lose a crew? Did uh did a new competitor come to the market? I don't know. Like, okay, you want to do some more marketing. Yeah. Yeah, if I remember correctly, you've been higher, but it's been coming. Your trajectory's not going the ideal way currently, right? You would rather be going up, but recently it's come down. So for okay, lost a builder and a crew. Yeah, that's what made when I saw the difference of about $200,000. That my first thought was a crew because you know that's easily what one team could be knocking. They could easily knock that out and more for sure. Okay. Is part of your help me understand this. From my experience, most guys that 500,000 to $1 million, I call it the no man's land. Like I think it's one of the hardest places to be in the remodeling business. And the reason I say that is all your energy and efforts, it's the hardest place to be because of expenses. And what I mean is, if you could add another, in your case, let's say 600,000 to get you up to like 1.2 mil, um, now you start seeing a bigger percentage of the profit because all your basic expenses were covered. You didn't have to take out a huge, your costs don't skyrocket to do more work. You just have to become more efficient or land more projects. Okay. Yeah. So good. Do you think if somebody said to you that you could bring on, if you had less headaches and less problems and could do a few more jobs, yeah, so you market, in my opinion, you have to sell more jobs to earn more money, and then with more leads, you can be pickier about the jobs that. Okay, so imagine this, Tom Green. You only have so many hours per day. There's only so many days per week. There's only so many weeks per year. We all have this constraint. If you don't have enough leads coming in so that you only are looking at this many jobs and you have to pick and sign at least a couple of those, if even if they're not your ideal client, you're now stuck doing those jobs and you can't do other jobs because those are the jobs you're doing. So you lose the profit that could have been made if you had better clients. And where I'm going with this is, yes, if you have a better marketing process, if you're getting more leads, a couple things start to happen. If you have the bandwidth and you're organized, you can produce more work. So you could now have 4 bathrooms being done in the span of where one typically gets done. So 4 times the profits rolling in. And really the only extra cost was your project management, right? If you're not set up for that currently. But and then as you get more leads, you increase the amount of reps that you have selling, you start working on your sales presentations. So you're getting better. So you start finding ways to charge a little bit more and weeding through the clients the ones that you actually go out to meet with. So as you start selling higher priced projects, the volume is naturally also going to increase, as is the profit for doing the same amount of work. So yes, to answer your question, yeah. Yeah, I would. You might be shocked at what we could come up with on a call, especially around looking at ways for you to just bring in a few more leads. This is and just one thing to think of. This happens a lot when I work with somebody is I can help you get more leads, but what ends up happening is then all of a sudden then you get swamped because you don't have the systems to handle the leads. And not just hear me. I'm not saying this is true, but I'm saying most guys when they say we need more, we can give you more leads, but are you set up to handle more leads? Does that make sense? Yeah, just if you go into the bio on this account, there's a link there and it'll walk you through. Like I said, you're going to get the book. You'll get a free download, the Get Paid to Estimate concept, how I recommend you look at weeding homeowners so that you're being paid to estimate jobs. And then, yes, once you go through that, there'll be a calendar link you can set up and we can do like a half-hour strategy call. And yeah, you and I can talk back and forth and come up with a little bit of. I'll walk away understanding your business a little bit more. You'll walk away understanding your business a little more, and you'll have a couple steps to consider taking, right? Action steps for you. Like, oh, I hadn't thought about that. Like this, you know what I mean? Based off of what you're doing currently and where you want to go. Yeah, so here's the beauty of the getting paid to estimate. So you'll probably see in my book, one of the stories I share was, yeah, no, no, good question. I started it because I was doing kitchen remodels, okay, and I was paying $65 per lead through an online source for all these leads to run out to meet with homeowners. I had gone on 6 appointments in a row, didn't land a single job because I was giving away free estimates. And then homeowners were taking my estimates and shopping around. And anyway, so I finally went out one night and I said, that's it. I need to charge to do a design. And I was like, I'm charging $2,500 for this kitchen for this homeowner. And that's it. I'm not even going to talk to them about doing the remodel. I went out and sold a design. I said, Mr. and Miss Smith, this is this is the way my business works. Before we do any remodeling projects, we make sure there's a set of plans and a design. You don't have that currently. So I propose to you tonight that we set up a design agreement. It's going to be $2,500. And at the end of these 2 weeks, you're going to know exactly what this kitchen is going to look like, what it's going to cost, how long it's going to take. And you can shop that to anyone, or you can hire us. If you hire me, I give you the $2,500 back and we schedule your process. And from that day on, it completely changed the business. All of a sudden now, so in your world, you could charge whatever you want. You want to start off charging $50 and calling it a measurement fee, a site visit. You want to go all in and start charging 250, you know, if it's a high-end project, like a lot of it depends on, as you're weeding out the homeowner over the phone, when you start finding out the value of their house, right? Because you understand the neighborhood that they live in. You're like, oh, that's $1 million house. They're probably going to spend $40,000 on this bathroom, or 60,000 because it's a master. I don't know. Might be 100,000. Then obviously your fee is going to be representative to the price of the project. And it just comes down to what you're comfortable with and how much you want to offer, how much value you're giving the homeowner. Exactly. So, most guys, when they start working, if they've never charged for estimates, probably nowadays are charging a couple $100 for site visits because they're offering a little bit more. But literally, if you just want to charge somebody $35, $75 just to come out, you can call it whatever you want. The guys that are making more money are doing a little bit extra. They're including some sort of a design. We also do something called a feasibility study, where when you have homeowners that are trying to do a redesign, moving walls, changing layouts, that's when we charge a feasibility cost. So we'll come out. That's when you go in the basement, you look at how the plumbing's currently routed. You're going up above, looking at the rooms to the left, to the right, up above, below, seeing what all their hurdles and headaches are going to be. Are we going to be moving load-bearing walls? To do that kind of an assessment, you should be charging for that. There should be some fee. You shouldn't just be doing it out of the kindness of your heart, is what I'm saying, hoping to get the job later. But a lot of contractors do. So how are you? Exactly. And what you start, it, part of the psychology that you start doing, imagine this for a minute. People that make more money are more concerned about their time being wasted. They want things to be done quicker and easier. People that have less money or make less money, they're always trying to save a nickel, figure out how to do it cheaper. So if you find yourself, if you didn't weed out the proper homeowner over the phone, sometimes that's why you're out there and the homeowner's like trying to nickel and dime you. It's because they don't even have enough money. But there's other homeowners that really, they want to save time and they're willing to pay more if you can deliver something quicker and easier to them, right? And that's where we get into, so in our world, what we started noticing, homeowners that spend certain amounts or have a house that's valued at a certain price point in our area, they were much more willing to pay more once they understood that we could do these extra things for them and make the process simpler. For instance, we would guarantee a 6-week kitchen remodel, guaranteed, right? Not a 3-month, which a lot of the competition, most of the competition would say it'd be 2 months. But I would say to them, call their competition, their referrals. Every one of them, the homeowner's going to tell you it took like 3 months to get the job done. You call ours, they're all going to tell you, yeah, they did it in 6 weeks or less, right? So we start selling something that the competition can't offer. In your world, it's like maybe you can do the bathroom model just a little bit quicker because you're more organized, stuff like that. But there's a fee for that, to give them that information. So how are you currently getting your leads now, Tile and Green? What are you guys, is it mainly word of mouth? Do are you trying any online ads? Yeah. So the script yes. In the beginning, you work a little bit off of a script because I don't know how many of my videos you watch. Think about this. For you to become good at tiling and remodeling bathrooms, you typically need to work 40 hours a week and do it for 5 years. At that point, you'll get about 10,000 hours and you're an expert you've done enough bathrooms at that point that you've pretty much seen mostly whatever you're going to see. Now, flip that. Think about sales. If you're just meeting with a couple homeowners a week, it's going to take you 15 to 20 years to get 10,000 hours of sales rep experience selling your service to the homeowner. Right? I mean, most guys can't go that far. So, yes, if you could get a sales script and learn from other people that have gone through that process, the more reps you can start learning how to make your sales process smoother and more effective, right? And then as you work through, what ends up happening is you don't need the script anymore because it becomes ingrained and you have it memorized up here, and then you're flowing better. But yeah. Okay. Yep, Angie. And home shows, very good. Yeah, home shows, I've got some yeah, home shows can be very lucrative for especially if you do full on bathroom models. Yeah, you should be able to walk away. Here's what's crazy. You can do a home show and you could walk away with money. You could pay for your booth by selling the your service, your design service right there at the home show. Yeah. Yeah. Now home shows can work really good. So that's awesome. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, I would with your professional, what I see off of your website, and I get a sense that you're pretty sharp. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, 4,000 plus the cost of your booth and you know all that jazz and making your nice poster boards and stuff like that. Yeah. But that's a pretty good return on investment, you know. And then hopefully you're leveraging those new jobs for more referrals, networking within the community, all of that. So, all right. Well, good things. All right. Well, listen, Talgrain, appreciate you jumping in here. I'm coming up on my limit for tonight, so I'm gonna hop off here in a second. But yeah, hopefully, Yeah, here's the thing. It's not. I appreciate the way you say it. It's not if you only. It's the natural. Think about this. I don't know about you, but like when I still own one of the first houses that I ever remodeled. I had bought it for myself. I wanted to learn. I wanted to do a renovation on an old historic home. I kept it. I rent it, and it was the very first project I ever did in my life. It's horrible. Like when I go back and look at it today, compared to um, where my skills were even like 3 years after that. So I'm sure you had probably a similar progression when you first got into the industry. You could do the work, but it wasn't. There's no way what you are able to do now. You're probably a 10 times better at your tile work. Well, the same is going to happen with your sales process. It's the only natural. If you keep learning new techniques, you're only going to be getting that much better, right? Where soon you're going to be, my God, this sales thing is so easy, right? Like, yeah, because you're just learning little tricks, and by getting more repetitions, it just starts becoming second nature. Mm. Yes, sir. Yeah, fill out the form, and I look forward to it, and we'll get you on the books. Okay. I appreciate you hopping on the live. Thank you, and I appreciate you commenting because I know it can be a bit of a pain to have to type everything in. So thank you for doing that. Have an awesome night for everyone else. Thanks for hopping in, and we'll catch you on the next one. And make also Talgrid, make sure that you as long as you're following my account and your account's not private, we should you should be able to message me direct message within TikTok too. So if you ever have a thing come up, I'm pretty sure we probably message each other. But all right. But if something comes up, you have a question, you can always reach out. Have an awesome night, and thanks. Any questions from the YouTube world? If not, we're gonna end this. I'm not seeing any new chats. All right, guys, have a good night.